All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Interviews, and we're back to talk season finale time. That's right. Not series finale. Season finale. Unfortunately, this show did not end at episode 8. That's my opinion. I'm sure there are a lot of you out there that are happy to see that if the show gets picked up, because I haven't heard if it's gotten picked up for a second season, but there will potentially be a second season of Kevin Can Fuck Himself. But was the finale any good? Does it leave me looking forward to a second season? Well, as you can kind of tell by the tone of my voice, I'm not really that excited about a season 2 of this show. I do find it all right. I am kind of curious of where it's going to go. I want to see if I'm right more than anything else about the direction of the show and ultimately what's going to happen to Kevin. And not like, what's going to happen to Kevin? Oh no. But like, how are they going to resolve this whole thing? How is Allison going to get out from under Kevin? Will she get out from under Kevin? And how bad will she become in the process? Because it feels like they're kind of building her up to be a like a Breaking Bad moment, you know, like she's Breaking Bad, not Breaking Bad, not good Breaking Bad, you know, not like this show isn't on that level, but Allison's Breaking Bad a little bit, you know, if you want to use that term, and I use that term loosely. She's way over her head, you know, way over her head, and you can kind of see where things are going if you're really paying attention. I'm still convinced that everything will work itself out in some weird way where Kevin will like have a heart attack and die after everything that they've gone through. Because I don't think that this is one of those shows that's going to really punish the main character of Allison unless it's with some kind of karmic justice that teaches her a lesson, like going so far, having something really bad happen that she'll have to realize that, you know, and that she's gone too far in how she's been. Because in this episode, she really does go too far with her friends and puts them in positions that she's been heading towards this whole time. So this is Kevin Can Fuck Himself, episode 8. It's called Fixed. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. For older, for people who have already been subscribed, welcome back. And again, don't forget to hit the like button, notifications, the share, and all that stuff. This was an interesting episode, and it had a chance to really wrap up. There was a lot of potential to wrap this up, but then they decided to continue going down the sitcom tropey way of things that leads to season finales with like how they do it with like will they won't they's and things like that. So Kevin headshot Nick. In the end, that's what happened. Nick did not shoot Kevin, but Kevin shot Nick, and word is they pulled the plug and Nick is dead. And they're, you know, for Allison, this is great news. If he's going to fail, at least he's dead. But Kevin is actually maybe feeling something. And the thing is, he actually is. He's feeling guilt. He's feeling terrible because he shot and killed someone, basically. And so we had an opportunity for this character to go down a path of redemption. And I'm not saying become the best husband in the world, but maybe somebody who actually finally gets his shit together and maybe realizes, you know, that the life he's living and what he's, you know, Allison's life, maybe at least try to make it better. I don't know. He's not enjoying the same old things, you know, and I really kind of enjoyed this beginning. But all good things never last long. And once he goes to a bar to drown his sorrows because nothing else is working, Once he realizes that everybody in the bar thinks he's a great big goddamn hero for what he did, and look, shooting a drug dealer, most people would say yes, he is a bona fide hero, but for our case and purposes here, what this does is just make it washes away all of Kevin's potential to become a better person, because he takes all that praise, he soaks it up, and becomes old Kevin immediately. The bad feelings that he had that could actually make him progress to be a better person is pushed all the way down, because all these people told him he didn't do anything wrong. And while you could say, yeah, he defended himself and everything else, but this was his moment, and they wrote him away from that. Now, this still could have been the end. But then we get into another trope of the character running for city council. So many shows have done this, be they sitcoms or dramedies or whatever. Is he had this event and he thinks that because of what happened, he can make real change. But it's all just done like Peter Griffin style. See, honey, we can just do all this stuff. I don't know why I'm trying to do a voice. So he decides he's going to run for city council, because that's what people do. And no one wants him really to do it. Nobody thinks he can do it. And while it is kind of interesting that Kevin has a little bit more confidence, and actually kind of reasonable confidence in this, he's still doing it, like, they're still writing it in that old way that you just can't take this guy seriously. Neil doesn't want him to do it because Neil never wants anything to change. He didn't want him to be a dad. He doesn't want him to run for city council. He just wants him for things to just stay the same, run the course of everything, that's been going on forever, the way they've always lived. So in that respect, you could even say that he is growing and changing. It does kind of seem like over the course of this season as well that Kevin's been kind of pulling away from Neil slowly but surely a little bit. Or at least noticing, like, doing more things to push Neil, like, away, in a little bit. Like, maybe he's outgrowing Neil a little bit. Neil's seeing it. Neil's been seeing like this. The good news is for Allison right now is with Kevin wanting to be a city councilman, he's not looking to get her pregnant until they bring that up next year, if there is a next year. So I assume that if he gets elected to city council, he'll be like, well, the next thing we got to do, babe, is we got to get ourselves a family. Well, they find out that Nick isn't really dead yet, that he's holding on. And so when that happens, we're just waiting for the inevitable eye-opening. Nick will be in the hospital, and he'll open his eyes suddenly. And we'll have to worry about what Nick is going to say to Tammy Ridgway, who already, admittedly in this episode, does not trust Allison any further than she can throw her, except, unfortunately, she thinks she could throw her pretty far. But Patty takes this as jealousy and not suspicion. But still, that's going to be hanging over our heads. So instead of resolving that with the guy being dead and ending this whole thing, having another way to get out of this series, nope, we have that. We're going to drag that along too. And the worst part of this was when they find it out, which is they sneak over to Nick's to plant drugs so that they can pin the drug dealing on Nick. And Patty goes around and distracts Nick's mom. And Allison does the thing, they write her to, as soon as they say Nick's still alive, she drops the bottle in her hands. That doesn't happen in real life. That kind of shit. I lose all feeling in my hands. I'm so shocked I dropped the bottle so that we create more tension. This show is supposed to have two things: the real world and how things really are and look, and then you have the sitcom section that's all goofy and tropey. But the sitcom side of things has been pouring into the real side of this show. And I don't know if that's intentional or just poor writing. Because if you're doing that to just create more stupid drama, that's not... I don't like it. I don't like it, folks. I'm sorry. I don't like that. I even said, come the fuck on. I love it, though, when they're talking about how it is Kevin's life's dream. And how he always just says, I'll wait for God to provide a solution. Then we get another moment that could have helped wrap up this series. Sam comes over to see Allison to apologize for how he acted. She apologizes too, but she kisses him in her home with Kevin in the other room. And they talk about how this is it. I left Jen. You can leave your husband. Let's get out of here. Let's end this whole farce. And it looks like they can do it. But guess what? Then they do. They end it again. So it's like there is no will they, won't they. Ended. We're going to continue that. Because Kevin comes into the room and talks his way into having Sam, his diner, using Sam's diner for his political venue to get, money donated to their campaign. And Sam just agrees to it, stupidly. So, we do get, Patty is supposed to go into Tammy's purse for Allison to find out if Tammy knows anything. And Patty's very uncomfortable about this. But what Patty really needs to worry about, because now we add another bit of stuff for next year, is Kirk comes over to the salon, Patty's ex-fiance, and just kind of plants a few ideas in Tammy's head that kind of raises her suspicions about Patty. About how he had questions for her and was round about talking about the drug dealing and the break-in and all this other stuff. And telling her to good luck, maybe you'd be able to get answers to the questions that I have. And Tammy starts kind of looking around in the salon, which leads me to believe that she'll probably find her stash of money. Maybe. Just to cause some more things. So this is just another thing for next year. This whole episode, it looked like I said, all these ways you could end it, they opened everything back up. But at the diner, Allison can't take it anymore, and she leaves to go outside, talk to Patty, and Sam follows her. And this is where they have their big fight, where he's telling her that she could be more than she is. She deserves more than the idiots, and she doesn't have to just be this. She could be more. And she's saying, I don't need to be more. This should be enough. And well, yeah, maybe she's got a bit of a point. He does too. He really does, because he can see how she is. He can see that she's messed up. Everybody can see that Allison is messed up except for Allison, because Allison thinks everything is hunky-dory. She's just going to keep on going and keep on burying herself in more and more shit. And she's dragging more and more people along with her. And while she's complaining about everything working out for Kevin, and that the Kevins of the world always win, and she does have a point, what she doesn't see is how she's just as bad as him in so many ways. So, she goes in there, and she at least tells Kevin off. She starts doing some shit because she's upset. He's telling her that she has a public image, and she tells him, everybody in here, you're acting like you're just this big hero, but you're really just a dick. And she walks away. She said the term everyday hero. So what sticks? Well, one of the cops says, hey, everyday hero, that's a great slogan. So he immediately forgets that his wife just called him a dick and leaves to the everyday hero slogan. Yay! Well, Allison goes home and finds Patty there, and then they have it out. Because Patty rightfully confronts Allison about that she knew without having to ask whether or not Tammy and her are dating. She said, you knew. I didn't want to assume, but it was like bullshit. You knew. And you still asked me, and you knew I wouldn't say no. And I did it for nothing because there is nothing to find. And Patty leaves, and Allison goes into the kitchen, and guess who's there that heard everything? It's Neil. And this escalates. It starts out silly, of I don't know what you're talking about, and they do this whole back and forth where it's like, well, now I really don't know what you're talking about. And he tells Allison that I finally have a way to get back in Kevin's good graces. I recorded everything that you and Patty said. And when Allison goes for the phone, Neil starts to choke her out on the counter of the kitchen. And it gets pretty intense. But then from behind, Patty hits him with a liquor bottle and knocks him down and says, you're not going to tell Kevin anything. And takes Allison's hand. And that's how the episode ends. And that is how you create a season 2. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be some good stuff in season 2, and we hopefully will go a full year, and hopefully by the time a year comes around, I'll be back and ready to watch this again, if there's nothing going on. But they had a way out, and they wrote their way into a second season if they get one. And if they don't get one, well, guess what? We're going to be left with all sorts of things left hanging, and while I don't see any reason this won't get a second season, I won't be surprised if there isn't. And then we'll just never know. And we spent 8 weeks watching a show where we just wanted a simple resolution and we didn't get one. So here's to hoping that there's a season 2 just so that we can get a resolution to this. And like I said, I'm more interested in watching it now just to see how right I am about the end. And when we get to, if there is a season 2, we'll talk about what we predict and how this is going to end. Because I do not think it'll go more than 2 seasons. It just absolutely can't. And if it does, God help us, how many more things we'll have to sit through that are just silly. So anyway, I know it sounds like I don't like it at all, but I do. I just am not impressed as I was with the actual premise from the first few episodes. So, anyway, if you like this review for this season finale of Kevin Can Fuck Himself, please hit the like button. Don't forget to comment, share, hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, if you hated every single thing I said because you think Kevin Can Fuck Himself is the greatest thing since sliced bread and it's just your life and you love it so much and why don't I just see what you see? Well, we can give you back the last 19 or so minutes of your life. So those of you who liked it, please put on some shades or look away. And if you have epilepsy, definitely look away, because we'll give you guys that hated this a better memory. And we'll see you next year. Maybe. Here is the memory I choose to give you. Have a great night. Maybe see you next year.
I know a lot of you are already on my side. And for you naysayers, I have 2 strong words for you. Come on.